Hello friends, it's Scott from Plot River Keto. If you're new to my channel, welcome. On my channel, you get to come along for the ride on my keto journey. Today is the 4th of July. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic holiday. Hope that most of you have got the time to spend some extra time with family and friends. I am spending time with my son, Brandon. My wife and my daughter are flying on an airplane, possibly as we speak. They might be in between flights right now, heading down to Orlando for the National FCCLA conference. So, kind of split apart a little bit as a family for this 4th of July, but I do have the time off, and so I wanted to jump on here and share an update with you. Normally, I update on Saturdays. Today is Friday. But as it's a Friday that feels like a Saturday, I figured I'd jump on here and update you on my progress, let you know how things are going for me, and then I have something that I wanted to talk with you about today. So to update you on my progress, things are going really well. I've had another great week. Um, I would say I'm really getting into a groove as far as my exercise and my nutrition both. I think they're both really locked in. Things are just kind of humming along right now. I'm feeling better. I feel like I'm actually starting to lose a little bit of the lots and lots that I gave back over the last, gosh, probably 6 to 9 months, maybe even a little bit more than that. It's a journey, and I'm grateful to be progressing along. It feels like on that journey again. I think from a nutrition perspective, things have been going really, really well. Been really simple, just focusing on meat and low carb vegetables, sprinkling in some keto chow here and there. I, of course, enjoy that quite a bit. I don't have it as often as I used to. I've been enjoying quite a bit of leftovers lately, leftover dinners for lunches, which I really like. But then I've also been enjoying the salty electrolytes quite a bit. And that's pretty much it. That from a nutrition perspective, that's kind of what I've been doing lately. And from an exercise perspective, things are going really well. I feel like I'm starting to kind of ramp up my workouts a little bit. The rucking is getting easier again, which is good, and I'm starting to branch out again and do some more difficult DDPY workouts. And I'm continuing to make progress with my weight training program. I'm getting close to the end of a 30-day program with Anabolic Aliens, which is the YouTube guy that I found through a friend of mine who was with DDPY named Jason Sparks. He actually turned me on to Anabolic Aliens, but it's a dumbbell program that I can do at home. The guy, it's a YouTube video that I can follow along with and do the workouts. And that's been going really well. So, not a whole lot to report on my progress. Things are going well for me. I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing, and yeah, I'm really pleased with my progress. Uh, wish it was faster, of course. And I would love for some of the gains that I've had over the last 6 to 9 months to go away faster than in 6 to 9 months. I think that's possible, but unfortunately, I have had a lot of gains, and so I've got some work to do. But I'm feeling good. So I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling thankful that I've had a good reset and that I'm making progress. What I wanted to share with you guys today, there was actually a video, and I apologize in advance. I forget the name of the woman who actually shared the video, but there was a woman who shared a video on our Low Carb Cruise Facebook page where she had asked all of the presenters that were on the low carb cruise, those who spoke to us, to share their why, like why they got started, why they pursued the keto lifestyle. And that got me thinking. I've certainly shared this with you guys before, but it's been a while. I'm sure not every single one of you has been along on this journey for the whole 3 years that I've had this YouTube channel, or almost 4 years that I've been on my keto journey. But I wanted to share with you a little bit about my why it is that I live this lifestyle, um, what's important to me, and what keeps me going on my journey. First, I wanted to share a couple of what I would call smaller, superficial things that were huge for me when I started on my journey, and thankfully, a lot of them I've been able to tick off those boxes, and I haven't given that back, even as I've backslid a little bit throughout this journey, but. Um, a few things. I'm just going to kind of rattle them off and then maybe talk a little bit about them. I did write them down, which is why I'm looking down. I have some notes. But fit in a booth at a restaurant. I'm sure that not all of you can relate to that one. When I started this journey, I could not fit in a booth at a restaurant. I was pretty close to 500 pounds, and I had to think real hard about where I was going to sit at a restaurant. Shop at a regular clothing store. I had gotten to the point where the sizes that I was in were not available at Walmart or Target, or TJ Maxx. I had to do all my shopping online at Destination XL and King Size and other creatively named places for um, the larger sizes, and those were only available online. Um, to fit in an airline seat and not have a seatbelt extender. There are probably many of you who don't even know what that is. And thankfully, those couple of things that were really huge for me, no pun intended, when I first started my journey are things that I've been able, boxes that I've been able to tick off. Um, and some of those are just going from being really, really obese to only obese, which is what I still am. But I am making some progress in the right direction, and those were a big part of my why when I started. Because when I started this journey 4 years ago, again, I was nearly 500 pounds. I couldn't fit in a booth at a restaurant. I needed a seatbelt extender. I couldn't shop at a regular clothing store. I could barely walk from my couch to my front door. I had gotten to the point. Gosh, maybe we're going to share a little bit of my story today. But I had gotten to the point where um, my life was shrinking, and it was shrinking fast, and it was shrinking significantly. And what I mean by that, I've actually had a few things pop up in my memories. 4 years ago, one of the things that really got me deciding that I wanted to start living this lifestyle was a vacation that we took to Florida, and we were about 2 blocks from the beach, and I could barely walk from the beach house to the beach. It was difficult for me, and it was interesting. My wife shared with me, I don't think she'd ever shared this with me before, how concerned that she was that I was barely able to make it to the beach. And when I got to the beach, I was not able to sit down on the beach. Now that was my own choice, but the reason I wasn't able to sit down is because I knew in my mind that I wasn't going to be able to get up on my own without help. So when I went to the beach, I would go and I would get in the ocean, and I could go and I could swim the ocean, and hang out in the waves or whatever. But then when I was finished with that, rather than hanging out on the beach or sitting on the beach with my wife's family and my family, I would go back to the beach house because I couldn't sit on the beach. And some of those memories popped up, and those are a big, big part of my why, and that's going to kind of lead me into the next part of my why, and how I had gotten fed up. I guess what I'd started to talk to you guys about was that my life had shrunk quite a bit, and so that vacation, my life had shrunk down quite a bit. I wasn't able to spend time with my family, and I think even in the months before that vacation, I remember going to a concert. With my son, it was a band concert of my son's, and I was in the parking lot at the high school, and the parking lot was not huge, but we were parked probably halfway in the parking lot, and so I had to walk from the parking lot into the building, and from the building a little ways into the Performing Arts Center. Now, most of you wouldn't even think of that as a thing, and I had gotten to the point where that was difficult, and I was having to ask my wife and my daughter to slow down so that I could remain with them to actually get into um, this concert of my son's. And I had a moment where I thought to myself, is that how this is going to be? First of all, I barely fit in a seat, and then it's a challenge for me to get to the event. And I had this moment where I saw my future, and I saw that if I continued down the path that I was on, that there was going to come a time where I was going to be unable to go to my children's activities, unable to go to my daughter's play, unable to go to my son's band performance. And that was that combination of things was what got me started, which leads me to my why. The things that I mentioned, being able to fit in a seat, being able to fit in a booth, those are things, and they did matter very much to me at the time. But the biggest why that I personally have is that I want to be able to live my life, and I want to be able to be a part of the lives of my children and of my wife. I don't want my wife to have to worry about me if I'm walking, and she doesn't anymore. As a matter of fact, I have to kind of drag her out walking with me sometimes. But I want to be able to live my life. I want to be able to be there for my children, and I want to be able to be there for my grandchildren someday. Um, I want to be able to go out and enjoy nature. I love nature. I don't love camping so much, but I love hiking. I love going out and spending time in nature. The low carb cruise was amazing for me because I love just getting out and hiking in a forest. I love hiking in the mountains. I love um, seeing and spending time in nature. And so that's a huge part of my why. Being able to spend that time with my family, but just being able to be out in nature. I love being able to, in addition to hiking, I love being able to go out in nature and being able to hunt. Um, but the big part of my why is that I wanted to live my life. And as I mentioned to you guys, I saw my life shrinking. And thankfully, because of living the ketogenic lifestyle and in improving my health, I have been able to see my life expand again. And I'm able to go and do a lot of the things that I want to do. Now, I feel that I am very much in the middle of my journey, and I've had several roadblocks over the last 4 years, things that have gotten in my way. It has not been a complete journey forward. I have taken 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Um, at this current moment, I'm definitely, somewhere in the middle. I have not hit all the, goals that I want for myself. As I talk about being able to want to hike and to be able to hunt, I can definitely do those things better than I could do those things 4 years ago, but I definitely have a ways to go. But that's my why. I want to be able to live my life. I want to be able to go out and do things and not worry about whether I'm going to be able to fit in a seat or whether I'm going to be able to, complete a hike. One other thing that I want to share with you that is part of my why. That's a little bit of a selfish thing, but I would like to, at some point, not be known for my size. To not have a person ever again say, "Hey there, big guy." To not have somebody think about that as part of who I am. Now, I know that even as I continue to improve my health and as my size decreases, that there's a big part up here that I've got to work on myself to change that for myself, because a big part of that is inside of me. Now, obviously you can look and see me here, and there's a lot of me still. Um, but I think even as I continue to make progress, that I need to work on the mental part, um, and do some things that Dr. Vega talked to us about on the low carb cruise. If you get a chance, I think you could actually maybe see that presentation, or it's something he's talked about before. Mindset. I think I mentioned it in my video update last week, but visualizing myself as I'm going to be, um, and changing my mindset that I am a healthy, active person, and actually being able to see that in my mind. And as I do that, my subconscious mind will help me in the conscious actions that I take, and I will be able to move forward and progress. But that's a part of my why too. Is I want to be known, not for my size, and a huge, big, long majority of my life I've been known for my size, to some degree. And if you can go back, on this channel, I think all the way back, and watch my very first video where I talk about kind of my story. It goes all the way back to myself in junior high and high school. I won't rehash all of that here, but it's been a lifelong thing for me. So yeah, but I just wanted to share that, share a little bit about my why. I know I've shared most of the things I shared with you guys today. I've shared in videos throughout the last 4 years, but that's my why. That's what gets me up every morning and gets me out rucking and gets me having that steak instead of having that piece of pie. So I hope you guys have had hope you're going to have a great holiday weekend. Hope you're enjoying the 4th of July, Independence Day, getting to spend some time with family and friends. I hope you're taking the opportunity to get out and enjoy this wonderful world that we live in. I had the opportunity to get out and get a ruck in this morning. It was nice. As it is summertime in Nebraska, I appreciated the cloud cover for a lot of that ruck. We're actually getting some rain here this afternoon, but hopefully, my son is definitely hoping that the rain will go away before the evening so we can light off some fireworks. Hopefully, we'll end up with 10 fingers and 10 toes when this night is over. But thank you guys, as always, for being a part of my journey, for being along for the ride, as I like to say, on my keto journey. Day by day, keep calling keto on, my friends. We'll check in with you again soon.